few preservation issues produce as emotion a answer as whaling. Are we now on to see countries murder whales for income once again? Business whaling has been efficaciously prohibited for more than rather than 30 years, following several whales were managed nearly to death. But the World Whaling Board, IWC, is now meet in Brazil and following 1 week will offer its sentence on a suggestion of Japan to end the prohibition. Affirmative, they do, but he's complex. IWC members coordinated to a standstill on hunt in 1986, to enable rorqual stocks to restore. Profi whaling nations anticipated the standstill to be interim, before unanimity could be achieved on stable capture quotas. Instead of, it became a nearly permanent prohibition, to the pleasure of conservationists but the terror of whaling nations love Japan, Norway and Iceland, who claim how whaling is portion of their civilization and should go on in a stable path. Amongst some things, it says he's studying stockpile levels and to see if the whales are vanishing or no. Critics say the is fair a lid so they can murder whales for meal. And in reality, the flesh of the whales annihilated for study normally does end up for selling. Whaling in the 19th and previous 20th age driven the gigantic mammals to the verge of death. By the 1960s, superior capture methods and gigantic plant sea vessels done it evident how rorqual hunt could not go untested. Therefore the standstill. Present, rorqual stocks are thoroughly controlled, and time largest kind are yet vanishing, other, love the mink rorqual that Japan mainly hunts, are no. So Japan, the present armchair of the IWC, is offering a pack of measures, consisting installation up a stable whaling board and installation stable capture framework to plentiful rorqual stocks/species. As an stimulus to against whaling nations, the proposals would as well do it facilitating to set new rorqual sanctuaries. Not everyone thinks so. Against whaling activists are of year up in weapon on the suggestion. These elegant giants person so lot threats in our humiliated oceans such as confusion, plasticity and sound contamination, and environment changing. The recent item they requirement is to be put behind in the whalers' crosshairs, says Kitten Unit, CEO of Humanistic Community World. Down there's as well the reason how whales are really smart animals in very advanced public structures. Murder them causes them terror, scare and ache. The old way of whaling in a simple spear intended a sluggish and excruciating die. Contemporary hunting, although aimed to murder the pet immediately, normally in an explosive spear, but conservations claim it can yet get really length for a rorqual to dead. Or how's not to refer how they are murder them in their household members, in their pods possessing to eyewitness their household members shouting out in ache, says Jeff Hansen, operating CEO of Sea Herdsmen in Australia. Such in favor of whaling say such a cases are exceptions, accidents how as well occur in any slaughterhouse. Yet their major spot is how they claim how opposition to stable whaling of non-endangered stocks is deep disingenuous. Industry flesh manufacture keeps pigs, herd and chick in gloomy captive of childbirth to slaughter, but the rarely stops shopping of achieving for a pleasant cut of pig or bovine. Down there is as well the bounty hunter's defense how murder a savage pet is more than ethics rather than increase an pet in captive in the single goal of consuming it. We murder them for flesh and we don't see the distinction among murder a mink rorqual and a elk as length as he's made humanly. Guideline against whaling nations love Australia include already told they would gang along to deny any attempts to erode the present prohibition. Australia has length been Japan's main enemy while it comes to whaling and wants to reinforce the IWC's protect of whales. It would person brutal opposition at household if it modified its reason. Canberra took the question to the World Trial of Judiciary, that in 2014 controlled versus Japan, proverb it was not required to murder whales in procedure to research them. But how was in link to one particular research program, so Japan just modified told program and renewed whaling. If Japan would propose to end its research program, a next business whaling quote would potential see really slight changing in the factual quantity of whales annihilated, he told. By the research program, Japan conducted about 300 to 400 animals every year, and a business quote could range them to a such quantity. Now, several of the whales are pursued in a Rorqual Nature Reserve in the Antarctic. Japan argues the nature reserve is to defend versus business whaling, but how research whaling does not break down any rules. If in next, Japan was to Rorqual by an IWC quote for business goal, it would be connected by the nature reserve rules. And if Japan were just to keep the IWC, it would yet be connected by world laws how link countries to company operate on Rorqual preservation. But eventually, down there's a nice opportunity. The controversial question will slowly die downward by himself. Japan consumer demand for Rorqual flesh has length been on the decrease. The production is already survives on country subsidies, so ultimately, change tastes might indicate business whaling is unbuttoned by simple business math.